Here is something that is going to sound wrong at first, so stay with me for 10 seconds. The single most repeated piece of money advice on the entire internet, invest your extra cash instead of paying down your mortgage, was completely mathematically correct in 2021. And that exact same advice, unchanged, might be quietly costing you money right now in 2026. Same rule, same spreadsheet, different world, and almost nobody following that advice has bothered to rerun the numbers. So before you throw another dollar at your mortgage, or another dollar into the market, I want to show you why the whole invest versus pay it off debate is the wrong fight, and give you a 4-step checklist that tells you, based on your own interest rate, exactly where your next dollar is supposed to go. Let me set the stage because this matters more than it looks. If you have spent any time on financial YouTube or personal finance forums, you have absorbed one commandment as if it came down from a mountain. Never pay off a low-interest mortgage early because the market will always beat it. Invest the difference. Let compounding do the work. And for years, that was not just an opinion, it was arithmetic. But that commandment was written in a very specific moment in time, under very specific conditions that have completely disappeared. What I want you to understand today is that there is no universal rule for this decision. There never was. There is only a rate environment, and the rate environment is the thing that decides. Not a philosophy, not a guru, not a team you pick. Your mortgage rate is the compass. And if you are still navigating with a compass calibrated for 2021, you are walking in the wrong direction with total confidence. So let us go back to 2021, because you have to understand the old world before you can see the trap. Back then, a huge number of people were locking in 30-year fixed mortgages at around 3%. 3%. That is nearly free money in historical terms. Now, over the long run, a broad stock market index has historically returned somewhere in the neighborhood of 10% per year before inflation. So do the subtraction. On one side, you have a debt costing you 3%. On the other side, you have an expected return of roughly 10%. That gap, that spread, was about 7 percentage points. 7 points in your favor every single year for choosing to invest instead of paying the mortgage down. When the spread is that enormous, the decision is not close. It is not even a real debate. Any honest calculator on the planet screams the same answer. Keep the cheap debt, invest the difference, and let the 7-point spread compound into a small fortune over 30 years. The advice was right because the math was right. Now come back to today. Come back to 2026. If you bought a home recently, or refinanced recently, you are not looking at 3%. You are looking at a mortgage rate somewhere between 6.5% and 7%. And here is where the entire foundation of the old advice cracks. Let us rerun that exact same subtraction with today's numbers. On one side, your debt now costs you around 6.5% to 7%. On the other side, that historical stock return is still somewhere around 10% before taxes. So the spread that used to be 7 full points has now collapsed to roughly 3 points at best. And that is before we account for the two things that quietly eat the rest of it. So watch what happens next, because this is the part almost nobody does. The first thing that eats your spread is taxes. When you pay down your mortgage, the return you earn is completely tax-free. Paying off a 6.5% mortgage is like earning a guaranteed 6.5%, with no tax bill attached, ever. But when you invest and actually realize those market gains, the government wants its cut. Depending on your situation, capital gains taxes can shave a meaningful slice right off the top of that 10%. So that 10% market return is not really 10% in your pocket. After tax, it might effectively land closer to 8 or even lower depending on your bracket and how you hold it. And now, the spread that started at 7 points and fell to 3 is shrinking toward 1. 1 point, maybe less. The second thing that eats your spread is the one people pretend does not exist: risk. That 6.5% from paying off your mortgage is guaranteed. It is a certainty, it is a contract. The moment that debt is gone, that return is locked in and it can never be taken from you. But the 10% from the market, that is not a guarantee. That is a historical average stretched across decades that included brutal crashes, lost years, and stretches where investors watched their accounts fall by 30 or 40% and had to simply endure it. The guaranteed thing and the hoped-for thing are not the same kind of thing, and pretending they are is exactly the mistake the old advice smuggles in. So when the guaranteed, tax-free return from your mortgage sits at 6.5%, and the uncertain, taxable return from the market lands at effectively 7 or 8 after everything, you are no longer looking at an obvious win. You are looking at a coin flip. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Taking on real risk for a 1-point edge is not investing. It is gambling for pennies. This is the moment where most videos on this topic stop. They tell you the spread has collapsed, they tell you it is close, and they leave you exactly where you started, stuck, staring at two roughly equal options with no way to choose. But that closeness is not the point. Here is the honest version. In 2021, with a 7-point spread, investing did not just win, it won in a landslide. Today, that edge has narrowed dramatically. Investing might still come out ahead over 30 years, and history says it usually does, but the margin is now thin enough that it no longer clearly pays you for the two things you quietly give up to chase it. So the smart question stops being which one wins the math, and becomes what you are risking to find out. And that leads me to the part of this video that I think will actually change how you see your own money. Let me tell you about two people, because a story will make this land harder than any percentage sign. Meet the first one. Call him Dave. Dave did what the responsible, disciplined voice in his head told him to do. He hated debt. He wanted to be free of it. So every spare dollar he had, for years, he threw at his mortgage. Extra payments, lump sums, the whole disciplined crusade. And it worked, in a sense. Dave paid his house off years early. On paper, Dave is a success story. He is debt-free, he owns his home outright. Now meet the second person. Call him Ryan. Ryan kept his mortgage exactly as it was and invested every spare dollar into the market instead. Ryan still owes the bank. On paper, Ryan looks less disciplined, maybe even a little reckless next to Dave. And if you run the 30-year math on their net worth, the honest answer is, it depends on what the market does and on the size of their loan. Sometimes Ryan pulls comfortably ahead. Other times, when the market is only average and the rate is high, they finish far closer than the loud online arguments would suggest. But here is what almost nobody says out loud. Even when Ryan wins the spreadsheet, winning the spreadsheet is not the same as winning in real life. A net worth number on paper quietly assumes nothing ever goes wrong, and something always goes wrong. So set the spreadsheet aside for a moment, because the number on paper is not what actually separates Dave and Ryan. Here is what separates them, and it is the whole ballgame. Imagine that in year 6, something goes wrong. A job loss, a medical emergency, a roof that needs $20,000 right now. Now look at Dave. Dave's wealth is real, but it is trapped. Every dollar he has is locked inside the walls of his house. Equity is real wealth, but it is not accessible wealth. Dave cannot walk up to his front door, unscrew a chunk of the foundation, and hand it to the hospital to cover a bill. His money is there, and it is completely useless to him in the exact moment he needs it most. And here is the cruelest part of Dave's situation. To get to that trapped wealth in an emergency, Dave has to go back to the very bank he worked so hard to escape, and beg for a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. And what rate do you think that emergency loan carries? Not the comfortable 6.5% he was so proud of paying off. Try closer to 8%, and sometimes higher, because emergency borrowing is expensive borrowing. So Dave spent years handing the bank money to erase a 6.5% debt, only to be forced, in a crisis, to borrow that same money back at around 8%. He optimized himself into a corner. Now look at Ryan. Ryan still owes on his house, yes, but Ryan has a pile of liquid cash sitting in his investment accounts. When the emergency hits, Ryan sells what he needs, covers the bill, and moves on with his life. No begging, no 8% emergency loan, no panic. Ryan is technically more in debt than Dave, and yet Ryan is dramatically more secure. And that is the truth that should stop you in your tracks. Being debt-free is not the same as being safe. You can pay off every dollar you owe and still be one bad month away from disaster, because you traded away the one thing that actually protects you in a crisis, liquidity, in exchange for the emotional comfort of a paid-off house. Getting rid of debt is not enough. Without liquidity, you can be completely debt-free and still be broke where it counts. So let us name the real obstacle here, the thing that has been quietly steering you wrong this entire time. The obstacle is not a lack of information. The obstacle is a belief. The belief that there is a permanent, universal winner. The belief that you are supposed to pick a team. Team invest versus team pay it off, like it is a sport, like your identity depends on which jersey you wear. That instinct to pick a side is exactly what is standing between you and the right answer. Because the right answer is not a team. The right answer is a moving target. And the thing that moves it is the number sitting on your own mortgage statement. Wealth is not built by the people who loyally pick a side and defend it forever. Wealth is built by the people who update their math when the world changes underneath them. So let me hand you the tool. Let me give you the checklist that replaces the whole debate. 4 steps, in order, that tell you where every extra dollar you have is actually supposed to go in 2026. Step 1. Before you pay a single extra penny toward your mortgage, and before you invest a single dollar anywhere else, capture your full employer 401k match. If your job offers to match your contributions, that match is an instant, guaranteed return on your money, commonly 50 cents, and sometimes a full dollar, for every dollar you put in, depending on your employer's formula. A 50 to 100% return the moment it lands. There is no mortgage rate on earth, and no realistic market return on earth that beats that. So if you are making extra mortgage payments while leaving free matching money on the table at work, stop. You are not being disciplined, you are making a structural mistake. You are setting fire to free money every single month to feel good about your house. Fix that first, always. Step 2. Once that match is fully captured, max out a Roth IRA. And this one does double duty, which is exactly why it beats rushing to pay off the house. Inside a Roth, your money grows completely tax-free for the rest of your life. That directly attacks the tax drag we talked about earlier, the thing that was quietly eating your market returns. But here is the part almost nobody mentions. Your Roth contributions can generally be pulled back out in a real emergency without the penalty that traps other retirement money. So a Roth is not just a growth engine, it is also a backstop. It grows your wealth and it stays reachable. That is the opposite of Dave's trapped equity, and it is why it comes before extra mortgage payments, not after. Step 3. Before you even glance at your mortgage rate, build a real emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of your actual living expenses, sitting in cash, boring in liquid and ready. This is the entire lesson of Dave and Ryan turned into a single instruction. This is the wall that stands between you and that expensive emergency loan. Because when you have this fund, a job loss is a stressful season instead of a catastrophe, and you never once have to consider borrowing your own home's equity back at a punishing rate. An emergency fund is not the exciting part of the plan. It is the part that makes every other part survivable. Do not skip it to feel debt-free faster. Debt-free and cash-poor is exactly the trap. And only now, after those first 3 are handled, do you arrive at step 4, the rate filter. This is where you finally look at your mortgage rate, and this is where the whole invest versus payoff debate gets settled cleanly, based on your number and nobody else's. Here is the filter. If your mortgage rate is below 5%, invest. Full stop. The spread is still wide enough that keeping that cheap debt and putting your money in the market is the mathematically stronger move, just like it was in the old days. If your mortgage rate is above 7%, do the opposite. Attack that mortgage aggressively, because a guaranteed, tax-free return above 7% is genuinely excellent and hard for a risky market to beat after taxes. And if your rate sits in the murky middle, between 5 and 7%, where so many people are right now, you split the difference. You put money toward both. You hedge, because at that rate, the outcome truly is close to a coin flip. And splitting captures some of the guaranteed return while keeping some of the market upside and, crucially, some of your liquidity. That is the entire framework. Match, Roth, emergency fund, rate filter. 4 steps. And notice what it does. It does not care which team you were rooting for. It only cares about your numbers. So look back at where we started. You came here wanting someone to just tell you which side wins, so you could stop worrying that you were leaving money on the table. And the honest answer is that the side you were arguing about was never the point. The point is the order, and the point is your rate. If you are pouring extra money into your mortgage right now, while you have unclaimed match money at work, you are making a mistake today. If you are debt-free, with no emergency fund, you are more exposed than you think, not less. And if you are running 2021's 3% logic on top of a 2026 mortgage, you are not doing math anymore. You are gambling, and you do not even know it. So here is what I want you to do. The moment this video ends, before you get distracted and forget, go find your actual mortgage rate. Not what you think it is, the real number on your statement. Then walk yourself down these 4 steps, in order, and be honest about which one you are getting wrong. Because I promise you, most people are getting at least one of them wrong, and it is almost never the step they expected. If this reframed the whole debate for you, if it made you realize the fight you were having with yourself was the wrong fight, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Because the entire point of this channel is to update the math when the world changes, instead of repeating advice that expired years ago. And if you found this useful, you are going to want the next one, because getting the order right is only half the battle. Next, I am breaking down how to actually build a paycheck that lands in your account every single week using 12 specific dividend stocks. How to structure it, what the real yields look like, and where the hidden traps are. The rules changed on all of us quietly. Let us keep making sure your math changes with them. I will see you in the next one.